Hi BookTube, this is Lindsay from Lindsay Reads, and today I thought I would talk about some of the books I have on my TBR for the year, for 2019, and today I'm going to talk about the classics that I want to read in 2019. I read a lot, and I've been reading a lot for years, but of course there's millions of books out there, and there's only so many books you can get to in a year, and so some of these books I'm embarrassed to say I haven't read, but hopefully I can fix that by getting to them this year. So I'm going to talk about 12 books, and maybe I can get to one of them each month of the year. So the first one I'm going to talk about is Don Quixote by Miguel de Cervantes Saavedra? And this is the cover of that book. And since I haven't read them, I'm not 100% sure what it's about, so I'm just going to read you like the first sentence that's on the book. And so this is: Don Quixote has become so entranced by reading chivalric romances that he determines to become a knight errant himself. And so, yeah, I've heard a lot about this book. I mean, not a lot about it. I've heard it mentioned many times, and it's always one of those books I've been meaning to get to, but haven't. So, yeah, really want to get to that one. Okay, this next one is another one that many of you heard of. There's a candy bar named after it. And this is, let's see, you can see that with a glare. The Three Musketeers by Alexandre Dumas. And this is Alexandre Dumas' most famous tale. This swashbuckling epic of chivalry, honor, and daring do set in France during the 1620s. And so the Three Musketeers are like three friends. That's all I really know about it. I'm not well versed in what the story is, actually. I haven't seen any movie adaptations or anything. I have read Alexandre Dumas' other book, The Count of Monte Cristo, and I really enjoyed that one. I read it many years ago, I think like 2012, 2011, and I enjoyed that one. I listened to that on audiobook. So this one I'm going to read in text format. The next one on my list is The Red and the Black by Stendhal. And here's a cover of this one. You can see that. And see, this one says, handsome, ambitious Julian Sorel is determined to rise above his humble provincial origins. So that one's that one. And this next one is Praise of Folly. And I can't even pronounce his name, I'm embarrassed to say. Erasmus, that's what it is, Erasmus. And he looks very serious on this cover. And this one says, let's see, Praise of Folly, written to amuse his friend Sir Thomas More. It's Erasmus' best-known work. Its dazzling mixture of fantasy and satire is narrated by a personification of folly, dressed as a jester, who celebrates youth, pleasure, drunkenness, and sexual desire, and goes on to lambast human pretensions, foibles, and frailties, to mock theologians and monks, and to praise the folly of simple Christian piety. And so this sounds really interesting to me because it was written, let's see, in 1510, but it sounds it's very current to me, it sounds like, because he's making fun of and, some satire on his current time, which, we could still be applicable to today. And so that's what I want to get to. And so this next one is The Metamorphoses by Ovid. And here's the cover for this one. And this one I've been meaning to get to for years. I just haven't picked it up. And so this one says, a cohesive collection of stories from Greek and Roman mythology that recounts recorded transformations, includes over 50 tales that chronicle the legends of King Midas, Hercules, and the Trojan War. Okay, the next one is by Euripides, the Bach. I'm pretty sure I'm butchering. This one has a pretty simple cover. It's a green cover with the name on it. So Euripides' classic drama about the often mortifying consequences of the unbridled and frequently hysterical celebrations of the feast of Dionysus, the god of wine. Again, sorry for my pronunciation. I had read last year Euripides' Medea, and I just loved that play. And so this one's also a play, if you didn't know. So maybe a little bit lighter work compared to the chunkers I've mentioned, especially like Alexander Dumas. Because I know Count of Monte Cristo was quite a hefty book. Okay, so this next one is George Gissing, New Grub Street. And I had heard George Gissing mentioned a lot during Victober. So that's how he kind of like got in my head of wanting to read. And so New Grub Street by George Gissing, it says Gissing recreated a microcosm of London's literary society as he had experienced it. His novel is at once a major social document and a story that draws us irresistibly into the twilight world of Edwin Reardon, a struggling novelist and his friends and acquaintances in Grub Street. Okay, this next one, this author, everyone is going to know. It's Shakespeare, William Shakespeare. And I've read several of his plays, but this is one I haven't gotten to. And this is King Lear. Let's see. King Lear, growing old and too tired to reign, decides to divide his realm amongst his 3 daughters, leaving the largest share to the one who loves him the most. So there's that one. And of course with Shakespeare, I would love to see like the actual plays in theater, but I'm sorry to say I haven't seen any of his plays actually live in theater. But maybe I'm thinking of reading a couple of his plays and then maybe like finding it on YouTube or like on Netflix or something, like adaptations of the plays. I thought that would help me get more out of the work. This next one is by Anthony Trollope, and it's The Way We Live Now. And this one says, Trollope's 1875 tale of a great financier's fraudulent machinations in the railway business and his daughter's ill use at the hands of a grasping lover is a classic in the literature of money and a ripping good read as well. And ripping good read is what I've really associated with Trollope. I read last year, Can We Forgive Her? And I'm reading currently Phineas Finn through Steve Donahue's read-along. And I've really enjoyed him. Like, he's just like opened my eyes. Like, I'm like so excited to read all of Trollope's works. And he has a lot of them. So this is just one I want to get to. And this next one, compared to Trollope, where I have many to read, with this next one, this is like my last novel of her that I have yet to read. And it's Jane Austen's, let me put it over here, Mansfield Park, plain cover. It's a Kindle edition. And if you don't know what this one's about, I'll read you a bit of the description. It says, taken from the poverty of her parents' home, Fanny Price is brought up with her rich cousins at Mansfield Park, acutely aware of her humble rank and with only her cousin Edmund as an ally. Okay, so this next one, second to last one I'm going to talk about, is Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. And I was thinking I might get to this one sooner than later since it's like a Russian book, winter themed hopefully, and so January or February would be a good time. And here's a pretty cover of this one. Okay, so this one says, acclaimed by many as the world's greatest novel, Anna Karenina provides a vast panorama of contemporary life in Russia and of the humanity in general. In it, Tolstoy uses his intense imaginative insight to create some of the most memorable characters in literature. Okay, so this last one is The Decameron by Giovanni Boccaccio. And here's the Penguin edition of that book. And this one says, The Decameron is an entertaining series of 100 stories written in the wake of the Black Death. The stories are told in a country villa outside the city of Florence by 10 young noble men and women who are seeking to escape the ravages of the plague. So those are the 12 books 12 classics I want to get to in 2019. Let me know if you've read any of them, or if they are on your TBR as well. They've just been hanging around, waiting to be read, just staring at you on your bookshelf. So yeah, thank you, BookTube.